Hello and good morning for some, good afternoon for others, and good evening for the rest of you. This is Phantom, and we are back with Chapter 14 of For the Ones We Love, written by Flim Brothers on FIM Fiction. If you want to check out the story yourself, as well as check out Brad's channel, who helped me out in this chapter, previous chapters, and future chapters, both links will be in the description, so send them your love because both of these people are awesome. Now, let's get back into it after about 3 weeks of not doing this. So let's get right back into it. This is Chapter 14, The Hatchery. They know almost nothing about dragons, so what if the little they think they know is wrong? A quote by Awesome Spike. Hello? Asked the brown dragon, looking at Spike strangely. Spike stared with disbelief at the group of dragons standing before him. The brown one that was talking to him was about his height and had similar features as him. Long snout, slit eyes, broad shoulders, and a muscular body. But unlike Spike, his teeth were longer than Spike's, sticking out of his lips. Also, his claws looked a lot sharper and were flat, like shovels. The brown dragon's skin seemed patchy and covered in dirt, like he was crawling in the mud earlier. Bitterbite, I think he's still a bit woozy, a long bronze dragon said. She looked like a serpent, with a thin, snake-like body. Her scales glimmered beautifully in the lava light, matching her long flowing orange hair. Spike rubbed his eyes. What? Who are you? His vision became clearer. Dragons? Oh, I'm sorry. The brown dragon apologized. The name is Bletitar Bok Grantai. The female rolled her eyes. Forgive my boyfriend, he's an idiot. She gave the dirt-covered dragon a playful shrug. Just call him Bitterbite. I'm Glimmer. Hey, Purple Drake said, getting up and extending his claw for a shake. Spike. So where exactly is this? He looked around the cave-like room they were in. You're in the Volcana Hatchery. You know, the place where motherless eggs go. Actually, I didn't know that. Really? Are you sure you're right? Yeah, I just don't remember much of anything. He lied. Spike had learned that telling dragons that he lived with ponies never turned out well. And who knows, maybe he would learn something about dragons if he kept playing dumb. Well, smiled Bitterbite, allow me to re-educate you. You, he pointed at Spike with one of his long sharp claws, are an Inferna, or fire dragon in layman's terms. He gestured toward himself. I am a rockmouth, or earth dragon. You still following me? I think so. Fire, earth. He looked to Glimmer. And water dragon? Hell no. I'd kill myself if I was one of those damn bathers, almost as bad as sea serpents. I am a cloud weaver, Spike, and don't ever forget it. Sorry. Like I said, this is all new to me. Bitterbite smiled. Relax, Spike. Glimmer is just mad that her race is a bunch of cloud-smoking pacifists. Pacifists? Cloud weavers usually hate conflict, but I sure as hell don't. She's my little loose cannon. He pulled the bronze dragoness closer to him, nuzzling her snout. So there are only 3 kinds of dragons? Spike tried to bring them back to the subject. Oh, by Gaia, no. There are hundreds of different types of dragons, but around Volcana, you'll mostly see fire, earth, cloud, sky, and boulder dragons. In fact, I think we should introduce you to the rest of the gang. He released his girlfriend and headed towards the exit. Spike got up from the rocky bed that he was laying on and followed the 2 dragons. On the other side of the exit was a humongous room, filled with lava waterfalls splashing into pools of magma. In the center of the room, it looked like 2 dragons were arguing about something. I told you, Dust Devil, I didn't take your damn gem! A large pale blue dragon bellowed. He seemed massive compared to his accuser, spanning well over 10 feet in all directions. The dragon seemed completely symmetrical, with the exception of his short, bloated tail, massive pudgy arms, tiny wings that were the size of Spike's hand, and his small head that sat on top of his massive body. Well then where the hell did it go? I saw you eyeing it the entire time, you giant puffball! The other dragon retaliated. He was much shorter than the massive drake he was arguing with, probably shorter than Spike. This dragon's scales were night black, with a pale pink underbelly. His most notable features were his snout and his wings. His snout was long and almost spear-like, with a small pointy bulge at the tip, and his wings, they were massive. They were pitch black and almost twice the length of his body. They couldn't even fold onto his back, and they stayed half open. What did you call me? Oh, I'm sorry. Couldn't you hear me with all that food in your ears, wide load? The black dragon laughed. The 2 kept on with their argument as Spike, Bitterbite, and Glimmer all spectated. So, Spike pondered, friends of yours? Unfortunately, muttered Glimmer as she approached the 2 arguing drakes. What in the name of the Earth Mother are you two arguing about now? They turned to the dragoness and pointed at each other. He ate my last gem! He thinks I ate his last gem! You two are acting like whelps. It's just one freaking gem. Hey, it was a diamond and I've been growing it for months! The smaller dragon extended his massive wings. And then Fat-Ass over there gobbles up like he does with everything in this joint. You're dead, Dust! Roared the dragon behemoth. He opened up his mouth. A long, sticky tongue shot out and wrapped around the dark drake's neck and pulled him into his mouth. The pale blue dragon's mouth seemed to stretch out and engulf the first half of his body. Ah, great. He's trying to eat him again. Again? Glimmer flew through the air, her body slithering like a snake as she wrapped her long body around the big dragon's neck. Spit him out, Lurch! Lurch gagged as he waved his arms in the air, his biceps too thick for him to stretch and pull the dragoness off his head. He eventually gave in to the bronze dragoness and spat out the large winged dragon. The black drake wiped off some of the saliva on his face and he got up from the ground. What the hell was that? He coughed. Some of the saliva had gotten his mouth. You started it, Dust Devil. I don't care who started it, shouted Glimmer, grabbing each of them by the throat and glaring at them. Stop acting like a pair of hatchlings and say hi to Spike. The two dragons looked at each other, then at Spike. Glimmer's grip around their necks loosened as they shook her off and approached Spike. So, the name's Spike, huh? Asked the smaller dark dragon. He was about 1.5 feet shorter than Spike, but the arch in his wings surpassed the purple drake by 3 feet at least. Hi, the name's Dust Devil, and Thunderbutt over there is Lurch. The large dragon grumbled something under his breath, but let it go for now. Nice to see you finally woke up. You were out of it for a while. Thought we'd have to throw you down in the pit with Todd. Who the hell is Todd? And what pit? Bitterbite stepped in. Spike here is suffering from some sort of amnesia, and he's not from around here. We've been actually trying to reattach him with the basics about dragons. Really? Pondered Dust Devil. Then allow me to educate you. I'm the best dragon of them all, a Skirin, or Sky Dragon if you don't care for technical terms. He looked over to Lurch. Lurch over here is a Bulda, or Fat-Ass Dragon. Lurch's fist collided with Dust's face, sending him hurtling to the ground. Boulder Dragon. Interesting, said Spike as he started to sniff around the air. You said that you lost a gem. Was it a diamond? Yeah, mumbled Dust Devil as he picked himself up from the ground. How did you know that? 'Cause I can smell it, the purple drake said as he followed his nose to the scent of the diamonds. They're somewhere around here. He pressed his face down to the ground. Here. Dust Devil looked over to Lurch. You buried it? I didn't touch your gem! Both of you, shut up! Spike started to peck at the ground with his claws. Huh. This is some tough dirt. Allow me, said Bitterbite. Spike stepped aside as the brown dragon started to dig his claws into the earth, breaking it apart with ease. Those claws of his were apparently meant for digging, as within seconds, his entire body disappeared into the hole, and in another few seconds, the sound of digging disappeared. Holy crap! Echoed Bitter's voice through the hole in the ground. Did you find my gem? Oh, I found much more than that. Suddenly, the hole in the ground erupted in a volcano of glittering gems. Rubies, sapphires, emeralds, diamonds, and all sorts of other gleaming stones just rained down on the shocked group of dragons. Bitterbite's head popped out of the ground, a few topazes laying on his head. Can you believe we were just sitting on this gem deposit this whole time? Glimmer's eyes lit up as she picked up an amethyst crystal. This is just, wow. There's gotta be about 100 gems here. Lurch smiled, grabbing a handful of rubies and tossing them to his massive gullet. Where did you learn to smell for gems? Asked Dust Devil, munching on a stick of emerald. I didn't know dragons could do that. Spike said nervously. All that time he had spent with Rarity had honed his nose to the very bleak scent of gemstone, but he couldn't mention that he had any sort of connection with ponies. A friend of mine taught me. Well, I'd like to meet this friend of yours sometime, grumbled Lurch as he stuffed another handful of rubies into his mouth. Do you smell any more gems? He shook his head. Sorry, but I can't smell anything at the moment. Bitterbite patted Spike on the back. Well, it doesn't matter. We have enough gems here to last us a while. Glad I could help. They sat in a large pile of gems. Bitterbite went back down the hole to grab more gems. Each time, the gems erupted in the air like a fountain. Soon the 5 dragons were laughing and joking on top of a massive pile of sparkling rocks. Gaia, I've never felt so good in all my life, moaned Glimmer as she spread herself on the sea of jewels that they had acquired, Bitterbite lying right next to her. Ah, yeah, this is a life. He slid deeper into the treasure, looking out the cave entrance. Hey! He looked closer at the entrance. He could have sworn that he saw something moving. Is someone there? He called out. Slowly, a small pink head peeked in. It was a baby dragon, probably no older than 5. She timidly walked into the room, her eyes glued to the floor and playing with her claws. Hey, Swirls! How's it going? Dust Devil asked, popping his head out of the pile of gems.
Hello, Dust.
She whispered. She reminded Spike a lot of a certain yellow Pegasus.
I heard a lot of noise coming from this part of the hatchery, and the rest of the hatchlings asked me to investigate.
She looked up at the pile of gems.
That's a lot of gems. Where did you find them?
Our new friend Spike smelled them out for us, Lurch said through a mouthful of rubies. Spike looked down at the little dragoness. He could see the hunger for the delicious gems sparkle in her eyes. The drake grabbed a tasty-looking sapphire and slid it down the pile.
Would you like some, Squirrel?
Spike turned his head in confusion to see Glimmer holding a pile of topazes to the young pink dragon.
Really?
Swirl's face lit up as she took a piece of the amber stone and stuffed it into her mouth.
Thank you.
No problem, Squirt. The long dragoness chuckled, scrunching up her head scales.
Go get the other whelps. We have plenty to go around.
The little dragoness nodded as she quickly skipped out of the room. You shared with them? Spike asked, not knowing that normal dragons were capable of such generosity. Yeah, of course, said Bitterbite, butting into the conversation. Is there something wrong with that? He studied Spike's facial expression. No, it's just that I thought dragons were greedy. He immediately covered his mouth. No, only the exiled are greedy, Bitterbite pondered. Let me see your hands. Why? Because I need to check something, he muttered, grabbing Spike's purple claw and examining it. No X. Guess you're not exiled. What's an exiled? You don't know what an exiled is? You must have been hit by a mountain or something. An exiled, Bitter started to explain, is a dragon who fails to pass the greed, and we kick them out of Volcana, and usually out of the Badlands if it's really bad. The greed? Really, Spike? Do I have to tell you where eggs come from as well? Anyways, the greed is when a dragon starts to grow up, and they enter the greed stage of adolescence. When they're at this stage, our instincts become more primal, and we try to grab anything that's not nailed to the ground. Now, in the old days, we could just do that, take and hold everything we could find. But ever since we got sent to live here, we have had to learn to suppress it. We just don't have much here, Spike. So you exile anyone who becomes too greedy? Yeah, we have very limited resources, in case you forgot. We live in the Badlands. We're not allowed in Equestria anymore, ever since those damn ponies. You don't like ponies?
Are you kidding me? They took everything from us, Spike. No dragon likes ponies, and if it weren't for the princesses, we'd have tried taking back the mainland long ago. Why do you ask?
No reason, he said nervously. This wasn't exactly what he wanted to hear if he was going to try to convince the dragons to help him. But I guess if you live for 1,000 years, it can be pretty easy to hold a grudge, and hard to forget. Glimmer was about to say something, but they were interrupted by the sounds of several hundred footsteps.
Hey guys, we're back,
Said a very excited Swirl. Spike gasped at how many dragons had followed her. There were hundreds of different looking baby dragons. Fire dragons, earth dragons, sky dragons, cloud dragons, boulder dragons, and ones he didn't recognize like two-headed dragons, spiky looking dragons. Dragons with 4 wings, dragons that look like birds, icy dragons, dragons with flippers, dragons with no limbs and slithered on their bellies like snakes. So, kids, smiled Bitterbite, picking up a jade stone. Who wants some gems? 5 astraces and a scene break. There was a knock on the door of the royal chamber of Princess Celestia. The White Mare was quietly reading a book on war tactics, a book she hoped she would never have to read again.
Come in,
She called out, not looking away from her book as the door slowly swung open.
Hello, Princess.
The princess's eye glanced in the direction of the voice to see a white unicorn standing by the doorway.
Rarity, to what do I owe the pleasure? Oh, I was just wondering if I could talk to you, but if you're too busy, I can always come back later. Not at all, Rarity,
Smiled Celestia, levitating her book on a table.
I wanted to stop reading that terrible book anyways. Oh, okay then. I was wondering if we could talk about your sister, Princess Luna.
The Sunmare's smile quickly began to fade.
There's nothing to talk about. She betrayed me, and she betrayed her country. If this wasn't a time of war, I would have sent her back to the moon. Princess, that's terrible. She didn't know what she was doing if she was in love. She knew exactly what she was doing,
Yelled the princess, using her magic to slam the door shut behind Rarity.
She let herself succumb to common pony emotions, just like he did. What do you mean? We are beings of higher power. We have to live an example of what to live by. I have done my best to keep my stature, to forego petty emotions, to not be corrupted.
She lowered her head to Rarity's level.
I have lived as a symbol of justice, of law, and of virtue. I have only ever loved my subjects, and only love I can afford to express.
The purple-maned unicorn thought about what the princess had said.
Are you telling me that you've never loved another pony? Rarity, I love all of my subjects, as any good princess does. Not like that, but I mean love one other pony more than another. You've never been truly in love, have you, darling?
Celestia bowed her head with a sigh.
I can't love like that, Rarity. But why not? Look at what love has done. It has turned my loving brother into a monster and corrupted my sister. I can't love 'cause I don't want to become like him.
She started to sniffle, shining tears rolling down her face.
I remember the night we lost him, and the first time I had to stop him.
5 asterisks for the scene break. It was the night he killed Symphony, the night his mind slowly started to become corroded. Curator stood in his room in the castle, staring out the window. The Pegasi had planned a great rainstorm for this evening,
Fitting weather.
he thought. He kept looking at the storm outside as the door swung open. A younger Celestial walked in happily, noticing her brother standing at the window.
Curator, you're home. You have to tell me how excited Symphony was at your proposal.
His face was facing the window, so Celestia couldn't see his sick smile.
She was so excited, she could have died.
Wonderful. So what day are you two thinking of for the wedding?
Can I ask you something, sister?
Of course.
Am I a bad pony?
Celestia couldn't help but chuckle.
What a silly thing to say. Of course not. You're one of the greatest ponies I know.
What I mean is, sister, I kill. When I was overseas, I killed many dragons. In town, I have been forced to kill bad ponies, criminals, and murderers. And in the forest, I have killed many a beast that threatens one's life. Does that make me a bad pony?
Of course not. Why are you asking me this?
Look in the chest by the bed.
Curator's gaze was still fixed on the window.
One more question, sister. Do you fear me?
Celestia frowned as she approached the chest.
No.
Well,
Curator smiled as his sister opened the chest.
now would be a good time to start.
Oh my!
Celestia gagged, slamming the chest shut. She looked at her brother, who was now facing her, staring at her with his mad yellow eyes.
Was that?
Symphony? Yes. Or at least what was left of her. The Timberwolves have most of her. I was just lucky, and I was able to retrieve most of her head.
Why did you do this?
She cheated on me, sister.
He laughed, as if it were a joke.
She was sleeping around while I was risking my life for the safety of every pony. So, sister, still think I'm not a bad pony?
The princess had nothing to say. She just looked terrified at her brother.
No answer for that one, eh, sis? That's because I learned that there is no difference. When I kill, I take their life, and the only justification is that they were a bad pony. Sweet Symphony may not have killed anyone, but she betrayed me, and that's enough for me, don't you think?
No.
Tisk tisk, sis. It is all the same. Everything on this planet is a sinner and deserves to die, and I will gladly play executioner.
That's not true!
It's funny, really.
He laughed as he turned his flank around. His cutie mark was the world, a sphere of green and blue sitting on his flank.
My cutie mark. I always thought it meant to protect the world, but now I know it is my destiny to destroy it.
Curator.
No, sister. Curator is dead. He died with Symphony.
His red mane seemed to shift, going from a crimson red to a misty gray.
You can call me by my true name, the name that will be the bringer of doom and despair to all creatures.
His brilliant white coat slowly started to fade, peeling off his body like dead skin, revealing the dark black hide underneath.
The name that every stallion mare and foal will scream as their world is destroyed.
His yellow eyes turned a satanic red, glowing with insane pleasure.
You can call me Conquest.
And 5 more astraces with a scene break.
Conquest. Dark conquest. The moment I looked into those terrible red eyes, all I saw was hate. The hate for everything that lived, that breathed, that loved. That's terrible, princess.
Rarity put a hoof on the large alicorn's side to comfort her.
He jumped through the window and slaughtered almost every pony in town. I was barely able to stop him.
The princess cried, resting her head on the unicorn's shoulder.
He killed so many ponies. There, princess. Everything is all right. No, it's not. I failed my citizens. We are all going to die because... Because what? Because I wasn't strong enough. I shouldn't have blamed my sister. She is braver than I ever will be. Why is that? She was brave enough to love. She was brave enough to truly love another being. Celestia,
Unicorn said, lifting the princess's head off of her.
you can't be afraid to love someone. I was for the longest time, and I was just miserable, and I almost lost the one I loved. But,
The princess said, biting the bottom of her lip.
I'm scared. Love's a scary thing, and yes, rejection is devastating. But is it not better to love and fail than to not love at all? I guess. Then don't be afraid to love, princess.
Rarity smiled.
So, is there someone you've had your eye on?
Celestia looked around the room, making sure that no pony was around to hear her.
Actually, there is a pony I have had my eye on. She's just so adorable, and I can't resist her.
A big goofy grin formed on Rarity's face.
Ooh, do tell, princess.
5 astraces with another scene break. The last few dragons had left the cave. The once mountain of gems was now reduced to a few handfuls of emeralds and a couple diamonds.
Oh, they took all the rubies,
complained Lurch, holding one of the emeralds in his claw.
Don't complain! You had half of them, Lardo! I've had like 3 rubies total, and you had to have eaten about 100!
I like rubies.
No, really? We both shot it for 2 seconds! We have to go into the market to get some food for Baba D.
Who's Baba D? Spike scratched his head as he grabbed the last few gems off the ground. She is the elder that runs the hatchery. We don't actually run this place, Spike. We just run errands and take care of hundreds of whelps that live here.
Wow.
Want to come with us, Spike? Yeah, I kinda want to look around myself. Dust Devil took to the air. Then let's go! He took off through the cave's exit and further into the tunnel system. The rest of the dragons followed him. They flew through the air, Spike following the dragons through the confusing paths of tunnels and caves. Bitterbite, not having any wings, said that he would meet them there before burrowing deep into the ground. They soon approached a large cave room. It seemed dimly lit, with only a soft glow of lava providing any light. In the center of the room was a large, snow-white fire dragon. She was about 50 feet tall from head to tail, and her wings were folded up to her back.
Baba D, we're about to hit. Quiet, little ones,
she whispered as she hovered over one of the pools of lava.
A little one is hatching.
Spike had to see this. He ran up to the pool of lava, looking down at the burning liquid. Do you mind if I watch? I've never seen this before. Not even questioning who this new dragon was, she nodded as she reached into the lava, pulling out a red and purple striped egg.
Come, little ones.
The other dragons gathered around the pool, staring at the boiling hot egg. Baba D took a soft breath, her yellow flames casing the egg in fire.
It's hatching.
The egg started to chip as a tiny piece of the shell fell off. A tiny red eye looked through the hole that it had created. Soon its legs pierced through the bottom. It managed to roll onto its legs, walking clumsily in little circles and following off Babadee's claw and into the lava. Spike gasped and reached in to save it, but Bitterbite, who had just emerged from the ground, grabbed his claw, shaking his head. The purple drake looked in horror as the baby dragon didn't emerge from the lava.
Boo!
The newborn dragon popped out of the lava, nearly giving Spike a heart attack. Babadee picked up the newborn dragon and started to cradle it in her arms.
Her name is Pika Blue.
The elder dragon smiled, rocking the child to sleep. Glimmer smiled.
So Peekaboo, huh? Not the worst name for an inferno. Shh, little ones. She is sleeping,
Babadee said as the little dragon yawned, before curling up into the white arms of the dragon.
Now, little ones, tell me of this new little one.
She was referring to Spike.
This is Spike, Babadee. He's not from around here. Where are you from again?
Asked Dust Devil. Burntwood, he said quickly, saying the only dragon settlement that he knew of. The old dragon smiled.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Spike. Word around the hatchery is that you have a nose for gems.
Yeah, and no, there isn't any gems in this room. Spike smiled.
Oh, I don't need Blitzatar digging holes around my hatchery. Which reminds me, you need to fill that hole up before some dragon falls down and hurts themselves.
Yes, Babadee, I'll do it as soon as I get back from the market. Did you need anything?
If it wouldn't be so much trouble, could you get some more coals?
Of course.
Good. Now run along, little ones. I need to put this one to sleep.
Spike turned around with the others as they walked out of the cave. Spike still couldn't believe that he had just witnessed the birth of one of his species. Something he thought he would never witness, and there it was. Little Peekaboo.
From ashes to fire, from fire brings life. It smolders embers to great lava's light.
Spike turned around. Was Babadee singing?
A gift from the flame that hangs high above. I'm not your mother, but I give you her love.
She was singing. The old dragon was singing the newborn a lullaby, just like his mother did for him.
So calm down, little one, and don't stay awake, for tomorrow brings on a new day of fate.
The white dragon walked out of the room, carrying the small dragon out with her. Did she just sing that dragon a lullaby?
Of course, every dragon gets a song sung to them at birth,
Said Glimmer.
It helps newborns go to sleep. It forms a bond between the mother and her child. But since us and every other dragon here have no actual mothers, Babadee sings it for us instead. It kind of makes her all of our mothers.
I didn't know that.
Well, that seems to be a running thing with you, Spike,
Laughed Lurch, his incredibly tiny wings somehow able to support his massive body.
Come on, let's get going.
It only took a few minutes to find the way out, and when they did, Spike wasn't prepared for what he saw. Dragons. Lots and lots of dragons. He thought the horde of whelps at the hatchery was a lot. They were nothing compared to the massive dragons he saw in the rest of Volcana. There were dragons literally everywhere. In the sky, the ground, perched on rocks, everywhere. By the goddess. Yep. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Now let's go get those goals. Dust Devil grabbed under Bitterbite's arms and carried him up in the air, the rest of the dragons following. They approached a small stand that looked like it was dug into the side of the volcano the city resided in. A lime-green rockmouth looked at the group of dragons before him. What can I get you? We'll need about 4 bags of coal. That'll be 8 jams! He turned around and started to shovel coals into a bag. Lurch, I need some rubies.
Didn't bring any with me.
Lurch, let's not do this the hard way. Just spit them out and be done with it.
I really don't know what you're talking about, Bitter. Really?
The brown dirty rockmouth sighed. Glimmer. The long bronze dragoness rammed her fist into the gut of the large round drake, crumbling under the pain and coughing up 8 slightly slimy rubies.
Sometimes I think you like me beating you up.
She picked up the gems and handed them to the merchant in exchange for the coal. Spike grabbed one of the bags. So this is it? Or do we have any...
Pony lover!
A strangely familiar voice called out. The purple dragon froze up immediately. Oh no, anything but her.
Spike!
Slowly, the drake in question turned slowly around. Oh, crap. Flying down from the sky, a large bronze dragon landed in front of Spike, her short red hair falling down over one of her blue eyes.
Never thought I'd see you again, pony lover.
The rest of the dragons looked at Spike.
Spike, who is this chick?
Asked Dust Devil. This is Statilda, my ex-girlfriend. And that was chapter 14 of For the Ones We Love. Chapter 14, The Hatchery of For the Ones We Love, written by Flim Brothers on Film Fiction. Alright, guys, halfway through. Woo! Awesome. In any case, I don't have much to say, so if you want to check out the story yourself, link will be in the description. Leave a comment of how much you love it. And also go check out Brad's channel, who helped me out on this chapter, previous chapters, and future chapters, and just because you should, because he's a great guy. In any case, I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you want to see more videos and more readings of the like. And I will talk to you guys later. Peace.